At this point in 2024, you can't deny that Capcom is not only one of the best developers in the world currently, but frankly, of all time. The company's made so many genre-defining games that changed everything, with certain titles like Final Fight and the first Resident Evil needing to find success for the developer to even survive. That's like something out of a movie. With so many great games in the catalog, picking out the best can be incredibly challenging. A title needs to be considered an all-time great within its genre, or at least within other Capcom games. That being said, games like Haunting Ground and God Hand, while fantastic, we're not sure if they're all-time great material, so they're not going to be on this list. Either way, let's check out what we have. Going back to Capcom's roots in the arcade, they've made some of the greatest beat-em-ups of the 80s and 90s. Games like Final Fight are some of the 80s best, but the 90s beat-em-ups were far superior, with Alien vs. Predator being the zenith of Capcom's work. You have so many enemies on screen here, but it's a ton of fun and way better balanced than some other games in the genre. Unfortunately, AVP has never been re-released outside of a Capcom plug-and-play system from 2019, but with the IP being owned by Disney in 2024, maybe things could go differently. I wouldn't hold your breath. Out of the entire Street Fighter series, Street Fighter 6 is up there, and very well could be the best later in its life. But for now, the crown has to go to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It was the ultimate evolution of Street Fighter 2, being the most balanced, and added a few key features to the franchise, including super moves and throw teching. Considering throw teching is such a key aspect in modern fighting games because it feels fair for everyone, Super Turbo was especially important. Capcom's other big fighting game staple outside of Street Fighter is Marvel vs. Capcom. Both Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3 are fantastic, but the former takes the crown for us, hands down. The series has always had an interesting balance to strike out with so many overpowered characters from both franchises. But in our opinion, MVC2 struck a much better balance between characters. The comic book style 2D graphics have a timeless quality to them, plus you have an amazing character roster here. Much like AVP though, the only bad thing is getting your hands on a copy of the game. Console ports for this are incredibly expensive. Picking the best Mega Man game is like picking your favorite child. It's a ridiculously hard task because 2, 3, and 9 are so close in quality, but for us, 9 just barely takes the edge. 2 and 3 have some issues with the Wily Castle, with Mega Man 2 having that atrocious boss fight requiring crash bombs, and Mega Man's 3 Castle just felt too easy. Mega Man 9 has the best overall campaign from start to finish with a killer soundtrack and amazing weapons. The second installment still probably has the best music and arsenal, but 9 is the best total package with all the elements combined. It's so close though, and everyone's gonna have their favorite from this franchise. Hideki Kamiya is a legendary Japanese game developer most known for his action titles, but his best game, in our estimation, is a Zelda clone named Okami. Okami is brilliant in virtually all aspects. The characters and story are great and hold up incredibly well even compared to some of the better Zelda titles. That and the art style is still incredible, holding up incredibly well today even. The level design also remains on par with Zelda 2. It has a good length too, feeling appropriately epic but not overly long. This is a must play for any Zelda fan, just because its greatness is simply on another level. In the West, Monster Hunter remained a pretty niche series until the release of Monster Hunter World. Not only a worldwide breakout hit, but a massive evolution of the series that was desperately needed. Before this entry, Monster Hunter was developed on lower-end hardware like the Wii or the 3DS, holding back these games' true potential. Monster Hunter World made full use of the PS4 and Xbox One's hardware to create the biggest, most beautiful, and best game of the franchise to date. So many quality of life improvements were added that made Monster Hunter easier to get into. The gameplay felt improved, and with plenty of regular content updates, it was effectively a live service game. Just makes you wonder how they plan on topping it with Monster Hunter Wilds. A lot of people out there are going to say that Devil May Cry 5 is actually the best title in the series, and while the combat in that one is the best, we think the level design here is a little bit better. Our choice for the best Devil May Cry title with the best combination of combat, story, and level design has got to go to Devil May Cry 3. The story is absolutely amazing, with tons of great, memorable characters and sequences. The level design is solid and interconnected, and the combat was the best of the series up to that point. Plus, the soundtrack is just packed with banger after banger. It's one of the best in all of action gaming. Out of all the Ace Attorney games, the fan favorite is usually Trials and Tribulations, and for good reason. First off, the villain is an all-time great in Capcom's lineup. His coffee-loving, smug personality makes him a figure you can't help but be glued to every time he's on screen. The story in this one is a fantastic finale to the original trilogy too, tying everything back together, complete with amazing flashback sequences. There's a reason why the Resident Evil remake remains so acclaimed in the survival horror genre, and if you've never played it, you might not get it. This game is as mastercrafted as it is for two big reasons: level design and game mechanics. There's so many things in this game that punish poor play and poor decision making, adding for more depth, like the Crimson Heads, zombies being able to move to other rooms, the broken doorknob, and even stuff like surprise encounters when you're exploring a room for the second time. The pre-rendered graphics look amazing even to this day, and the monsters are just as scary as ever. No matter how much time passes, the Resident Evil remake will always be a fantastic survival horror experience. For our money though, there's no way around it. Resident Evil 4 is among the top 10 most influential games ever made, and it still feels fresh somehow. Even comparing it to the remake offers good contrast, because while the remake's gameplay feels more modern, the original still has plenty to offer. The fact that you can't move and shoot at the same time adds tons of depth to the gameplay, and combined with some of the best level design in any Capcom title, you can see why people still replay the original all these years later. Don't get us wrong, the remake's amazing with a better focus on story, and the gunplay feels incredible, but there's just no beating the original. It's been ported to every console known to man for a reason. Anyway, that's our list. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to check out thegamer.com.